Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. We are back on the dev server that got updated, which is pretty crazy. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a series of videos looking at all the changes, including an aviation change one, a ground change one, and a naval change one. But I thought I'd dedicate a video to one of the new vehicles that is coming in the next major update. Now you can see it's not fully finished, but the only thing that doesn't seem finished on this is actually the camo. Everything else seems to be there, and it's the C-3604. You may remember this thing. This was in the files in the last update, but it now is on the dev server, and it looks really cool and really interestingly modeled. This is one of the new Swiss vehicles that is coming to the German tech tree in the next major update. It's the only propeller aircraft that is actually coming for Switzerland after pretty much all of the other ones in the subtree area being jets to try and fill out this area for Germany. So there have been some changes to these. We'll cover that in a later video. Right now, we'll just focus on this little boy. So you can see it's at rank 2, battle rating 2.7. It's a strike aircraft, so it will get access to an air spawn, which will help it out quite a lot. And also, it can at least do the first daily of the day, and can't do the second one though, only being rank 2. So this vehicle has access to the Saurer YS2 engine, which surprisingly gives it quite a lot of engine power at 2.7, which it's going to need, because this is a heavy bird since it's filled with guns. This vehicle has, first of all, 3 20mm guns. So you have one in the center here, in the center line mounted in the engine. You then have 2 others, the 20mm FFK HS45s, and then you have 2 7.45mm on the external area of the wings. Plus, you have a turret in the back of a dual-mounted 7.5mm too. So this thing is just full of guns, which usually at this BR actually isn't a good thing. Usually it's nice to have some armament, maybe like 120mm, maybe like a few 50 cals or something, but usually when you start adding guns, it adds weight, and yeah, it starts not feeling too good. You also have the liquid and also the oil cooling systems in the bottom here. You have your pilot, which he isn't fully there yet, but he's getting there, and that's the main thing. And then also, you have actually a little bit of armor on the vehicle, since this vehicle does have access to strike aircraft capabilities. You've got a bit of bulletproof glass, you have some protection for the gunner, and then also you have some steel plates, which are behind the pilot too. So you definitely have some protection for them, which is pretty fun. Now, even though it is a strike aircraft, right now it doesn't get access to any bombs, and I've got a feeling it might do. The C-36s in real life did have access to some bombs. Not all of them did, so we'll have to see how it goes. This one technically is kind of like a proto version of, some of the vehicles that were made. It isn't like the main production one, so maybe it won't. Maybe it'll just be stuck with its guns, but if it is, it still has quite a lot of firepower in terms of them. Since it's using new guns, I'm pretty sure they're copies of different ones, so the default is just full of HEF, so this will explode planes very well, but also you have access to many different rounds. The ground targets can pen up to 41mm, which will be pretty good to be able to go through a lot of ground vehicles. You'll be able to kind of tin can them, and then also you have an air belt, which is very, very similar to the default, apart from you have less HE and more AP, which is kind of surprising. So these are all there. For the 7.5mm, the 7.5mm, the fact that the standard one is T-ball AP should give you a general idea of how useful they're going to be, and that is not very useful at all. They're just kind of an additional one. You literally have just a tracer belt, so that's it. Imagine taking that. But you have like AP, and then also you have T and AP. So most of the time your 7.5s aren't going to be useful, and since they're your main defense, that isn't great. But I would actually argue your main defense is this big thing at the back, the big elevator, which means that you'll be able to swing around this vehicle very aggressively. So what are we looking at this vehicle? Well, we're looking at one which generally I feel like is probably going to have a pretty decent time. Just kind of wandering about the air and being able to donk a lot of people. And it's also the first kind of propeller aircraft that we have for Switzerland. So it's just really lovely to see that this thing is the case. The only issue I would say is the fact that I wish there was a standard tech tree one. The cockpit isn't in-game yet. You can see that it does have no pilot either. He has also disappeared, but the general flight characteristics of the thing seem pretty nice. In terms of the wheels, they're very similar to how a lot of other wheels are set up. So you can see they actually do come out very quickly compared to a lot of other vehicles. In terms of flaps, you only have takeoff ones and landing, so you don't have combat flaps, which is kind of completely fine. You can see the flaps are on the center area of the vehicle there. And in terms of firepower, I mean, there's a lot of it. This one kind of reminds me of, you know, that is it the Romanian or Hungarian aircraft in the Italian tech tree, the IAR-81C, where it just has a ridiculous amount of firepower, but it just takes a little bit of time to get to speed, and it takes a little bit of time to actually, you know, get sorted and get ready to go. That's what this is, but this is going to get an air spawn, so you'll be able to get given that time because, well, you'll spawn at speed and you'll spawn faster than everything else. So you can climb, and then you can go after bombers, and then after that you can actually go after fighters. But from a ground point of view, since you have so much firepower, you'll be able to just, like, you know, rat-a-tat things when it comes to AI, in terms of air realistic and even simulator. When it comes to, like, ground for, like, players, you know, ground RB and stuff like that, I don't think it'll be as useful. But this elevator is going to be one of the key parts of using this thing. Basically, what you want to do with this type of vehicle is you want to engage somebody in a turn fight after, like, trying to hammer them with the guns, because obviously you have a really good setup, and then use the elevator and also the large wings. After one turn, you'll be able to hit them really hard, and then after that you're going to be struggling for speed. Imagine like an IL-2, right? That's how this thing, I'm pretty sure, is going to fly. It's going to be very similar to how an IL-2 plays, and then, you know, you try and hit targets after one or two turns, and then after that you kind of go from there. You also have a pretty responsive rudder, which is pretty fun. So yeah, actually maneuvering around in this thing, I think it's going to catch quite a lot of people out. We'll have to see what its engine performance is when it actually turns up, but I'm pretty happy to see this thing, and hopefully more people enjoy it. I just wish it was in the tech tree, because, you know, trying to get people interested in Swiss stuff and, you know, trying to get them wanting to play it, and then it's like, well, you're gonna have to buy it. It sucks. It really does. Hopefully we get more versions of the C-36 in the future, and those can be standard tech tree stuff. As always, I hope you have a wonderful day. I'll see you next time. I'd just like to thank GMG Smiley, CD Beans, Chieftain Mike, EMN3 Galaxy, Tulio Pontecorvo, Brendan Quinn, Carrion Crow, Gus Irenicus, Pyman, Warthunder, Teddy, Daniel Stanton, Martinez, B. Young, Ozzy Panzer, Alan Hacker, Liam Shear, Opium Prime, Lafouche, Sem, Aslan, Uncle Bean, and Derek R. for supporting the channel.